Henry.
And I'm Kellie Henry.
You may know us from our other social media platforms, and we are the Oh.Henrys.
Yes, we are, and we have fun.
We do have fun. We try to have fun. That's our biggest thing, is we have fun.
We try. Sometimes we do.
And our page, or our pages on all of our social platforms, are family-friendly content.
Yeah.
And you can get into kind of why we're here and how we got here and what we're doing.
Well, we got on socials. We started with TikTok during the pandemic and really just had fun with it. It was a good way to connect with people and connect with our little family, and our kids had fun being involved, and we kind of created this family brand. We've been married for 17 and a half years, and we have 4 kids. We have 2 daughters, ages 13 and 12, and then 2 boys, ages 9 and 8. And so, people are used to seeing us together with our kids and doing fun things, and people are seeing this fun, happy family, which we are.
Yeah.
For the most part. We have our days where they're not as fun parenting. But what we want and what we've been trying to share, if you've been following us on our socials, is that it has taken us work to get to this point. Constant, intentional work every day. Because marriage and parenting and all the things, it isn't easy.
No. So what ended up happening is, to get to this point, is we, through the past few years, have taken breaks. We've made stops. We focus on our family, focus on our
stops and breaks with our social media platforms.
Yeah, with our socials.
Not with each other.
Yeah, no, exactly. With our social media platforms and our content and our creating. I have a full-time job. I've had one this whole time. Kellie just recently, we got one, and like Kellie said, we have 4 kids, so we wanted to make sure it wasn't taken away from them. And so this last year, we have been really trying to figure out the next steps of kind of what we're wanting to do with
of our life, just like contemplating things.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to do social media? Are we not? Are we going to do content? Are we not? And if you're not doing content creation, but kind of, well, what's it for, I guess?
Yeah.
And we have a pretty good platform. We have, I don't know, what do we have? 780,000 followers on TikTok, and it's grown into Instagram and stuff like that. But we've gotten to a point where we wanted to bring value.
Yeah.
We wanted to bring something a little more than dancing and singing and goofing off on our pages.
And families are our passion. We really try to push that, and we have been pushing that on our pages with like internet safety, with parenting and our own parenting tricks or marriage tips and things like that. Just trying to keep it real with our following, that it takes work and it's hard, but it's worth it, because we feel like, family is our home, our base. It's where everything starts. People grow up and realize how much of their childhood affected them and how important families are. And we're just wanting to set a good example for our own kids, but we're also wanting to help other families create their strong family units as well, because it's so important. And sometimes in this world that we live in, that's not a main focus of the importance of family. So we're trying to that's our message of how important it is to be intentional and putting in the effort every single day with your marriage, with your parenting, with your families.
Yeah. So we have decided to go full in. We've decided to go full in.
We're all in
on social media, but this is a big reason why is this podcast. And kind of the things that started opening our eyes were we kept getting a bunch of comments throughout our videos of couple goals or marriage goals or family goals, whatever it may be.
And I had somebody come up to me and say, I hate it when I see people comment couple goals for you guys, because if they only knew what you went through, they wouldn't think that about you. And that hurt so much.
Yeah. And that's what we want to share how we got to where we are, what we've been through, and why I actually think that it's even more of that than it was before. So this has been, a journey for us, and we're going to share and dive deep into that a little bit, that I'm nervous about. It's opening up old wounds, but I know that what we're about to share and getting into this podcast, I believe, and I know Kelly believes, that we are going to help people.
Yeah. And it was never our intention to go this route or to bring this up. We have fears about starting this podcast and opening up and being vulnerable, because there's a lot of judgment there. We know how the internet works with trolls and haters. So we know we're going to be getting that. We know it's going to be hard for us to talk about, because this is hard. This is what we've been through. This is our life. It's hard. And so we do have some fears about it, but we've been fighting it for so long. So he's had his own spiritual moments where he'll send me a text in the day and be like, I really feel like we need to do this and talk about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds awful. But then I'm getting those same feelings too, and those promptings. And so we really do feel like this is a calling for us, that we can help others. And even though it's scary to us, if we can just help one family, one couple, then it's worth it. And so we feel really strong about it. So Dan, why don't you?
Yeah. So to lead into this, we read a study that 25% of marriages that go through what we're about to get into, which is infidelity, only 25% of marriages make it. And that's where I want to start the story. About 7 years ago, Kelly found out that I was unfaithful in our marriage, and it was absolutely devastating for our family. It was devastating for me. It was devastating for Kelly. I knew that I had absolutely just potentially ruined this amazing family that we had built, the relationship that we had built. And it was, I've never been in a lower, darker space, headspace, spiritual, emotional, than at that time. And it really crushed me, not because of what I did, but because of what I had done to Kelly, and our family. And that was a moment that I'll never forget for two reasons. One, like I said, I absolutely just devastated my wife and the love of my life. And the second emotion that I felt was I was so blessed. I was so blessed that it had been open, and Kelly found out, and it was a blessing for me that this happened, so I can now focus on improving myself, my family, and make this right. And we'll get into that as we continue into this podcast. But we went through, like I said, infidelity in our marriage, and it was roughly 7 years ago. And it has been a rough 7 years.
Really rough the first two.
I was gonna say the first two or
the first
3.
Year's the worst. I felt after 2 of really working hard that we got to a good place.
Well, yeah, and I agree, but even even 7 years later now, they see all of our I put this in quotes, our happiness, our joy, our whatever behind the scenes of still our TikToks, our videos, our Instagram. We're fighting every day still.
Oh, we are?
Not fighting. We're fighting for each other.
Like...
We're not fighting. We're fighting for our marriage. We're fighting for our family.
We're intentional about it. We're aware of what we need to be doing. And you know what? This whole thing, I hate it when people say, like, you grow from your challenges and you become better, because I hated hearing that when I was literally in the depths of hell going through this. But that's really what happened to us. It was a really big turning point in our marriage, individually, in our life. I mean, our priorities immediately changed, and our priorities haven't changed since that moment. It didn't matter what car I was driving, what clothes I was wearing, what house we lived in. When we were about to lose our family, it was just fighting for that. Like, that's the most important thing ever. And we have kept that as our center, as our focus, like family before everything else. If we don't have, material things, as long as we have each other, we will be happy.
The whole purpose of us reopening these wounds and revisiting this, even though we've worked so hard to put it behind us, is we have gone to therapy.
Lots of therapy.
Have worked on ourselves. We've worked on each other. We've worked personally. We worked in the last, one of the last steps that we discussed during therapy is when you get to a place, you discuss it and
help others.
And you help others. And we know just off of our small TikTok videos, maybe alluding to a couple things like this, or marriage problems, or anything like that. There are so many people going through marital problems, and this podcast is not necessarily you only have to listen, or you only have to work on your marriage if it's through an infidelity problem.
There's so many different problems in marriages.
I mean, intimacy,
finances, parenting, families,
religion, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's so many things that hopefully we can help, bring light to. But one of the biggest things for me on my journey, and Kellie's going to share, her side of it and her purpose and her goals, but mine is those, whatever you want to call them, offenders. You are in the depths of hell. Me personally, I felt like I had crushed my family. In my religion, in our religion, it is that we have a hope and a faith and a belief that we will live with each other forever. And I believed that I had ruined that. I believed I had ruined that. I believed that I was going to hell and my family was going to a better place.
Peace out.
and I ruined that. And we're not going to get too deep into religion, and we're not going to get deep into that. We will talk about, Jesus Christ and the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. I'm not going to get deep into, other religion type things, but, the hope for me and my religion is to be with Kellie and my kids forever. And, me doing what I did and the choices that I made, I will always, own up and live up to my decisions and choices that I made. Was I ruined that. I ruined our family. I ruined that. So I was in the abyss. I was in the black hole. I had ruined my life. I had ruined our family's life. And I did not see any light. Mm-hmm. I did not see any hope. I did not see any light. I did not see any of that. So the goal of this podcast is to help those in my situation, and obviously Kellie will share hers, but my goal is to share that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. Yeah. There is, Kellie and I now, today, are more happy than we've been in our 17 years of marriage. And that's where the hard work that we had put into it, and the learning of each other, and the therapy and everything that we've done, it has made it to where we can, you know, enjoy our life and be happy again. So for me, that's my goal.
Yeah, we want to help
provide that light. So go ahead.
Well, we just want to help people on both sides, like people who have made mistakes and people who, you know, there's a lot of shame and guilt with that. There's a lot of, you know, mental health stuff with that, and vice versa on the other side. If, you know, you were in my position, and what each side has to go through with recovery, forgiveness, trust. I mean, there's so much, and it takes time, but it's so worth it when you put in the work, and that is our goal. And, you know, there was a moment when I had taken the kids and left for a little bit, and I knew Dan was struggling, and he was suicidal. And I remember having to call my bishop, my church leader, to have them go do a check-in because I was so worried about him. Like, even though he just had done this to me, like, I didn't want him to do anything like rash. And so we just want to give hope, because it's such a dark place for both sides of it. And if your marriage is struggling, it's just, people don't talk about it. It's a shameful thing. People keep it quiet. You know, you don't announce it. You don't want to talk about it, but it's a really lonely place to be. And so we just want to give couples hope that there is a light. And, you know, my biggest fear of doing this podcast is the judgment and people thinking differently of Dan, because I love him so much, and he did make a mistake, and I was so angry, and it has been hell and not fun, but I'm so proud of the work that he put in to fight for our family and to own up and take accountability for it and to make it better. And that is so beautiful to watch and to know and to see. And he's just an amazing man now. He's grown and pushed himself. It's been uncomfortable. It's been hard. But the man he is now is amazing, and I'm so proud of him. And so I just want you guys to keep that in mind as we're going through this, because we don't need to hear the hateful comments. But if you could just be kind, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, this isn't, we're not telling this story for really anything else other than trying to help couples that are in a dark place. And it's not fun. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Thank
you, honey. And we're gonna this podcast is, there are going to be a ton of examples of fighting of what Kellie and I have done individually and with each other to get through this. So we're very excited to share our side of things, and everything that Kellie and I have done doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody. Everybody's
story is different. Everybody's journey is different. Our story is not going to be the exact same as anybody else, but we're hoping to give pieces or tools that others can use. And we're not going to get into the details of what he did or any of that stuff. We're going to talk about how we moved forward from finding out. And the tools, like I said, we learned a lot in therapy. We're going to be having some things like downloadable on our website for couples, challenges and check-ins and things like that. So you can go check us out on our website for those. And we're just excited to help because we love families and it's our passion, and our family is our greatest accomplishment. And we want to protect it. Like, I will protect my family before anything. So.
Yeah. And my decisions that I had made earlier was not about being with another woman, wanting to leave Kellie and my family. and that's where the blessing part comes in, that I explained earlier, was the blessing of getting out of that darkness that I was in, and then being able to 100% focus and prove to Kellie where my heart really was, where my love and my heart really was. And for you listening that are maybe in the same path, it's a very slow, methodical path. It's a very slow, methodical path to build trust, to build that love, to build intimacy, to build joy, to build that family unit. So if you're listening and you think it's I've been to therapy for 2 weeks, what do you want? That's not.
And it sucks to hear. Like, to hear
Yeah.
that it takes time. I'm the most impatient person. I really am. I want things fixed. And I feel like we are a very instant gratification culture now. And I wanted to fix it. I'm like, no, I hate how I'm feeling. Like, let's fix this. And you can do a lot, but a lot is time too for your heart.
Well, there are times, a month in, we had in quotations, another good day. I was like, oh, we're good. It's over. Like,
really?
We're good. And then
I never thought that.
Well, that's what I'm trying to explain is like, I was like, oh, she's forgiven me. And
insert laugh. Ha 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 ha.
And I came to find out real fast that wasn't the case. So you are gonna have good days and you're gonna have your bad days, but you got to understand that, like we said, 7 years later with Kellie and I, like I said, there are days where we'll be at night and we just had a rough day, not necessarily each other, but we just at work, or busy. The kids were rough, or whatever, and we weren't connected. And Kellie will talk about that in the website, and some of her things that she has is being connected.
When we started this journey, after I found out and we were both really struggling, we were working with a therapist, we were working with our church leaders, and both of them were telling me, I have seen this before, where couples work through and become better than they were before. And I was like,
yeah,
baloney.
Right.
Like, no, that is BS. I don't believe it. Like, there's no way. Because I felt like we had a good marriage. I was like, there's no way it can be better because of the way I'm feeling in this moment. Like, there's absolutely no way. Like, I don't believe it. But all I had at that moment in time was to trust and to have faith, that little mustard seed. Like, that is all I had to hold on to. So I did. And I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely true, that we are better because of this that we went through. And your marriage can become better. It takes two people willing to put in work and effort every day. Two selfless people giving 100% every day.
It's a very good close to this episode. This is episode 1. Our episodes are going to be roughly around 25 to 30 minutes. And please comment questions, anything that you'd like to either ask us, or maybe ask about your own marriage or problems, and
what you want to hear from us on the podcast.
And we want to address all those. We want to address those. We want to turn them into podcasts, or we want to turn them into Q&As. But please comment and be respectful, please. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be dropping episodes every Wednesday. We don't know if morning or afternoon, but every Wednesday we will be dropping a new episode, and they're going to be quick listens. and hopefully we can bring up a topic that will help you in your family and marriage.
Thank you for being here with us. We are excited and we love you all, and we just wish nothing but the best for everybody.
Thank you.